we go. It is time to meet our fighters. The following is a welterweight contest. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, representing Apex Gym, it's Adam Grogan. And his opponent standing across the cage, fighting out of the red corner, making his debut in the UKFC cage, representing BR Boxing Fitness and Enigma BJJ, it's Dan Mcgraffin.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Fight two at the UK Fighting Championships. Dan Mcgraffin in the red corner, the Black Venom Trumps making his debut, taking on Adam Grogan, fighting out of the blue corner in the white shorts.
Just look for this to be a bit tasty. I'll give you a little bit of background on these two. They've had a little social, no touching gloves and no surprise. Grogan fought bare knuckle boxing and on his way back home from the last fight got a message from Dan Mcgraffin, which he says wasn't too nice, calling him a certain word that I'm probably not allowed to say on the broadcast, and he says he's going to make him pay for that tonight.
Yeah, always makes it pretty interesting when you've got a bit of niggle between the two, but it's more tentative than you might have imagined if there was emotion involved. You've got to take the emotion out of it if you want to play to your strengths. Luckily, it looks like both these guys have managed to do that, thus far at least.
I imagine it's going to be a stand-up as well. Dan Mcgraffin told me he's only been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for about 4 months, feels much more comfortable on the feet. Grogan, with his pedigree in boxing and bare-knuckle boxing, likely want to keep it there as well.
Seeing as we were expecting it to be a little bit tasty, both these guys are kind of controlling their emotion at the moment. They're not rushing into anything or making any silly mistakes.
You can see both carry power as well. Dan Mcgraffin is a huge welterweight.
Yeah, size-wise, if you're looking body for body, certainly looks the bigger man at the weight. Putting his man on the fence there, he's cutting off the cage quite well, but Grogan coming in from the southpaw with a big left hand. So sometimes when there's a little bit more pride and ego on the line, you've got to tread carefully as well, because you certainly don't want to lose those fights when it's been built up in that manner.
Absolutely, bragging rights on the table as well for this one.
Grogan seems to be throwing with the more vicious intentions, that left hand whenever he gets the chance.
Yeah, nice job from Mcgraffin there. Grogan switching stances, working from both stances. I think it's primarily a southpaw, but he has been switching. Neither of these two, I mean, there's been the odd sharp shot that's come in. Neither have really engaged as we might have imagined to start.
Non-committed. Dan Mcgraffin was actually out at the UFC 229 event in Vegas a week ago, watching the biggest event in MMA. That's meeting the likes of Justin Gaethje, Matt Platinum, Mike Perry. That's one way to get yourself amped up for your debut.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. He might have got a bit of sparring on in Vegas as well.
Let's see if he jumps out of the cage and causes some crowd problems at the end.
Yeah, Mcgraffin looking to lead with his jab. Grogan mostly just reacting, trying to counter at the moment.
But Grogan's got to be careful. With that jumping in like that, he's open for the counter with those looping shots.
Keeping his hands fairly low as well as Grogan.
That's a right kick. Yeah. Oh, but Grogan's not letting him off there.
Ref.
Yeah, he landed a good right hand there, but the low kick certainly landed up through the middle. Quite a painful one for Mcgraffin.
Still talking to each other there. Grogan coming to see exactly what damage he's done. Did have 5 minutes to take there if he wanted it, but I think Grogan standing over him. Maybe he's come back into this a little bit too soon. You've probably been kicked in the cut more than me, Jason. What sort of recovery time would you take for a kick like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all different. Sometimes the innocuous looking ones are really hard and vice versa, but it's good to go. Big left hand. Grogan's been looking for a home for that. Straight left all around and right on the bell. He lands it. Best shot of the round by quite a margin.
And just as the round came to an end, it started to heat up over those last 15 or 20 seconds.
Absolutely. Tentative start from both fighters, understandably so. Just looking at Dan Mcgraffin as he went back to his corner there. I don't think he had fully recovered from that cup kick. Instantly went and put his hands on his knees and taking those big, deep breaths.
Yeah, bearing in mind, if both guys have come from a boxing background, those kind of shots happen a lot less, and the rules are different. So, you know, maybe a little bit of pressure, not quite sure. what's going on and wanted to get straight back into it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask you this, gentlemen, but first round, put your virtual judging hat on. It's a fairly tight round. Is there anybody clearly leading at the moment?
I wouldn't say clearly, but I think that the work that maybe caught the judges' eyes more was from Grogan, coming forward, bigger shots, but neither one really connecting or having that significant strike that, apart from actually that straight left that Grogan landed, that's the one he's been looking for. Landed it once.
Yeah, I'd be tipped towards Grogan for the first round, but
that's a
not
nice
by a great
body
margin.
kick. Straight to the liver. Mcgraffin's right elbow dropped to his side then.
Reaching a little bit, Mcgraffin.
Good left to the body, goes for a takedown. First takedown attempt to the fight. Grogan gets it and he's going to pass straight to side control.
Nice.
As I said, Dan Mcgraffin only training jiu-jitsu for 4 months, so let's see what he's learned off of his back.
Yeah, difference really could be who's the most versatile, and with that takedown, Grogan's already started that, but back up on the feet.
That's superb
and,
work.
Opts to let him up as well. It looks like Grogan didn't really make much of an effort to keep him on the ground. But he knows if the going gets tough, he can take him down, and there wasn't too much resistance from Mcgraffin on the first takedown attempt.
You just get the sense that one of them at any moment is going to explode.
I spoke to both of these before the fight about how they predicted the fight to end. Now, Adam Grogan, off the back of the heat that he got from Mcgraffin, was always an eye poke there. He said he wants to knock out Mcgraffin, but Mcgraffin said he knows he's facing someone tough. He's seen all of his fights, bare knuckle boxing, and MMA. He said he doesn't expect to finish him. He thinks this is going to be 3 rounds, and that's what he's prepared for, which is, especially with somebody debuting, you usually hear people, I'm going to knock him out first round. That's actually quite a composed approach, and he's got to keep that in mind while he's in there, because Grogan is tough as nails.
And has experience in the cage. This is his 3rd fight. Looking for the first win, but you can't take that experience away.
Absolutely.
And there was a couple of prior warnings. I think both men have had a warning for outstretched fingers. Obviously, in the MMA gloves, it makes a big difference as opposed to being in a boxing glove. Testing the range with fingers out, and he gets told again there, closes his hand up, does the right thing.
What I do like that Grogan's added a little bit more of in this round is a few feints. He's trying to get a few tells and a few reads off of Mcgraffin. And Graffin's buying a few of them.
Absolutely, he used the feint there to get his back off the cage and created space for himself. Very nice. Oh, when he wings that shot in.
There's no setup on that one.
That's kind of my technique, I think.
Yeah, I think Grogan's also been more diverse.
Oh.
Just as I say, that comes in with a spinning back fist. He's thrown a few kicks. He's been the only man to initiate any sort of takedown attempt, and got it as well.
Mcgraffin, though, keeps coming forward, trying to take the space away from Grogan.
He's an imposing figure as well. Mcgraffin is huge for welterweight, especially to say amateur. Maybe they don't cut as much weight, but it looks like he's really had to work to get down to welterweight, and he's certainly the more imposing figure in the cage at the minute.
Oh, nice.
Nice double up on the jab, you're right.
Yeah, the first one actually missed, and he pumped another 2 out, which found a mark. Using his range better there is Mcgraffin. He has started to pump that jab out a little bit more. Like see him just to get that right behind it.
Oh.
That's giving him some confidence. You can see that in his demeanor.
Yeah. And again, as the round comes to the end.
Oh, those uppercuts are just missing.
And again, Grogan keeping those hands low.
He's trying to bait him in here.
Yeah.
Watch for that. Oh, it's...
And his hands down by his waist. Come on in.
Grogan looking to slip and counter. As soon as Mcgraffin overextends, looks like he wants to come back with a shot. He's done it well so far tonight. Little head slips, back with a counter left.
10 seconds left.
Now, far be it from me to question anybody's cardio, but
Oh, he's moved it. Oh,
Grogan looks like
Left hand.
Grogan looks like he's breathing a little heavy now.
certainly. Yeah, hands on knees as he goes back to his corner. An impressive second half of that round by Mcgraffin. That double jab connection seemed to give him confidence, push the pressure and the pace up against Grogan.
Yeah, Grogan really looked to be cruising in the first half of the round, but right there, the final minute or so, Mcgraffin turned it up, and he should be extremely confident coming into round 3, because he'll look over at Grogan, he'll see the, you know, how tired he looks in the opposite corner, and he's looked fresh, and he's had his best stint of the fight there.
How important is momentum in a fight like this as well, especially if Mcgraffin mentally maybe knows he lost that first round, took that injury, came back in that second one. Now he's got the break, as you said, looking over at his opponent. How important is it to keep that momentum going at the start of this third round?
Oh, I think he'll certainly be buoyed by that, and I think as he comes out for this start of round 3, if he isn't coming out with his foot on the gas, I'd be very surprised. Grogan, a little shake of the head. say, the little tells that he's given off is that he's not quite as confident as he was at the start of the fight, but still everything to play for. When he's on the back foot, he's landed some good shots. So
that's what I like to see as well. Touching gloves, lots of back and forth before the weigh-ins were very tense between these two, but they've earned each other's respect in the 6 minutes they've shared the cage. 3 minutes left. Grogan in the blue corner. Mcgraffin catches him with a right.
Big shot, and it's over.
Look at that. We said how important it was to start that third round strong, and he came in with that overhand right. Beautiful.
Absolutely sweet shot by Dan Mcgraffin.
Yeah, and like you say, he kept up the momentum. It looked like he was the fitter man. You said he was well prepared to go the 3 rounds, and he still had it in the tank at the start of the third. Not many do, especially not when they're making a debut. That's a great win for him, and to carry that power into the final round, impressive.
Look how happy he is.
That's a happy young man, and that's good to see as well.
Perfect. That's what we want. This is what this sport's about. Competing, testing yourselves, but it's the respect you earn in the cage off of each other. That's a moment they've shared with each other that nobody else has been part of, and Mcgraffin really did, especially in that second half of the fight, rise to the occasion.
Yeah, he got the confidence. It's his first time in the cage tonight for Mcgraffin, and I think he was just finding his feet a little bit. Dropped his bottle of water all over the shot, but yeah. No, and he really grew into the fight, got better and better, and picked up a nice finish there. Good little win for him in his first bout inside the cage.
Well, before the decision's made official, let's quickly shout out the Health Shack. Great nutritional food, fast food, but good for you. Phenomenal.
You know you've nicked that slogan. That's about eggs, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, your appreciation for both men inside the cage. And so, after 19 seconds of round number 3, we have a winner by TKO in the red corner, Dan Mcgraffin. And your continued appreciation for Adam Grogan.
The grudge gets put to bed in emphatic fashion in the end. Got a good battle between the pair of them. Nice to see them share an arm there, exiting the cage on good terms.
Let's look back. Talk us through some of this action. This is earlier in the fight.
Going to get the finish there, is that teeing up the big right? That was the one.
Again, used that double jab and came behind it.
Look how happy he is as well. Fantastic debut for Dan Mcgraffin.